On August 15th, 1958, Bobby Bizup, age 10, was fishing down by Cabin Creek while attending summer camp at St. Malo Retreat, a camp organized by the Catholic Church. At approximately 6 p.m., a camp counselor approached Bobby and informed him it was time for dinner. The two of them walked back down the hill toward the camp, the counselor noting Bobby was just behind him. Yet, when he reached the camp and turned back again, Bobby was gone. St. Malo Retreat, also known as Chapel on the Rock, was built in 1936 on land donated by Mr. and Mrs. Oscar Malo. The concept of the Chapel on the Rock was founded by Monsignor Joseph Bozzetti in 1916 when he came across a large rock formation just east of the Rocky Mountain National Park. He was inspired by the biblical phrase, "Upon this rock I will build my church," and the church was donated to the Archdiocese of Denver. At that time, the facility was used as a boys' camp, led by priests and seminaries. Bobby Bizup, the only son of Master Sergeant Joseph Bizup, attended that camp. Bobby was mostly deaf and didn't speak clearly, so he mostly kept to himself, but he loved fishing. The search for Bobby extended across 4 days, and with an estimated 300 people searching over 16 square miles. The search included airmen from Denver's Lowry Air Force Base, where Bobby's father was stationed. Bloodhounds searched the woods, and skin divers searched the heavier ponds. The search extended up Mount Meeker to approximately 11,000 feet and 4 miles in each direction. There was no sign of him, only his bait box, about a mile from the creek where he was last seen by his counselor. The camp director made a statement, claiming he was sure Bobby was just hiding. A vacationing physician claimed to have seen Bobby walking the streets of Estes Park, 15 miles north of St. Malo's. Clerks in an Estes Park hardware store also reported seeing a young boy resembling Bobby, even tried asking him questions, but he failed to respond, pointing to his mouth and ears, and quickly left when approached. It wasn't until almost a year later, on June 6, 1959, that he was finally found. 3 camp counselors from St. Malo's, including one who helped lead the original search for Bobby, came across part of his hearing aid, scraps of clothing, and some bones, all later confirmed to be Bobby's. His remains were found in a ravine's heavy underbrush, just below timberline on Mount Meeker. The ravine and area surrounding it had all been part of the original search. The question, however, is how did Bobby get there, and why wasn't he found during the original search? Bobby Bizup disappeared while heading downhill to dinner, behind his counselor, yet was found almost a year later, 3.5 miles away from the camp and 2,500 feet up Mount Meeker. People claim to have seen him in Estes Park, 15 miles south of St. Malo. But how would he have gotten there? While a 10-year-old boy can be resourceful, this boy was hard of hearing and didn't speak much. He was hungry and headed toward food, yet disappeared within a short while of having been seen. And, in just a few months, what happened to his body? Even if eaten by wildlife in the Rocky Mountains, there should have been more of him left behind. Bobby Bizup is another one of the missing 411 cases, but as recent as November of last year, there's actually been some more investigations into the case. The National Park Service has opened an investigation into the 1958 disappearance of a 10-year-old boy from Catholic summer camp in Boulder County. The death of Bobby Bizup, whose remains were found on the east face of Mount Meeker nearly a year after he vanished, was originally classified as an accident. Now, the Park Service's Investigative Service Branch has opened an investigation, according to multiple sources familiar with the case. Bobby was an only child and was born almost completely deaf. At the time he went missing, it was believed that he had simply wandered away from Camp St. Malo, located between Estes Park and Ellens Park, and gotten lost in the woods. His remains were discovered nearly a year later on the high east face of Mount Meeker. A coroner concluded the cause of death was probably from exhaustion and exposure, and classified it an accident. Everybody thought since he can't speak or hear, he couldn't hear anybody calling, and he just wandered off, said Harriet Dudich, a cousin of Bobby's. That's what we all believed all these years. Bobby's parents are both deceased, and Dudich is among his closest living relatives. That's real good news, she said Thursday afternoon of the Park Service investigation. I really hope something comes from this. The case was never investigated as anything more than an unfortunate accident. A further investigation began when it was discovered that two of the counselors working at the camp were credibly accused of sexually abusing multiple boys. One of them, Neil Hewitt, acknowledged that he was one of the last people to see the boy before he disappeared. Hewitt was also leading a hike up Mount Meeker and was one of those who discovered Bobby's remains. I did not do anything to him, Hewitt said in 2019, speaking to a reporter outside of his home in Arizona. This is just another one of those real-life cases that has a lot of twists and turns that you just don't expect. A missing persons case from 1959 getting reopened in 2020 and having new information come out really kind of changes your perspective on things. Something that goes from a very mysterious missing 411 case ends up having the possibility of quite a disturbing, very real solution. With the findings of sexual abuse at St. Malo Church, the camp retreat, it really brings a new thought process to the disappearance of Bobby, and I think there may be more investigations into that camp. Maybe there were more children that may have gone missing besides Bobby that we don't know about, but it just seems very very interesting to me that this missing persons case from, almost 60 years ago is getting reopened with some new evidence. And even though both of Bobby's parents are passed away, at least you can know that there's hopefully some sort of closure that's possible for them, or what remains of his family. So that is the case of Bobby Bizup. I don't know, what do you guys think? Was Bobby abducted by one of the abusive counselors at his camp, or is he just one of the many mysterious missing 411 cases that we'll never really find an explanation for? With all this new evidence coming out, just even as recent as last year, it kind of brings a different vibe to this. So if you have any theories or thoughts about this case, go ahead and comment them below, and I'll be back soon, hopefully with more missing 411 cases.